Look, I told you a minute ago I had a surprise for you, Frank.
Yes?
But first, I'd like your candid opinion of our New York World's Fair.
Oh, it's magnificent. It's a fascinating spectacle, and the exhibits are very educational. In a Max Sennett sort of a way.
I can see you've been to the Aqua Cave.
Been there. I almost drowned yesterday. But it's a very good fair. Probably the best fair that's ever been put on without my advice and cooperation.
You put on fairs, Frank?
My dear boy, when it comes to extravagances of this type, no city would dare go ahead without...
Just a minute. Now comes the surprise.
Oh?
Mr. Y, would you be good enough to step out here, please?
Why, glad to, Mr. Snipes.
Frank, I want you to shake hands with a man who is personally responsible for much of the success of the New York World's Fair.
Why, Billy Rose, how you've changed. Well,
Just a minute, Frank.
What?
Well, that's all right, young man. Did I understand you to say that you've had experience in putting on exhibits of this kind, Mr. Morgan?
Grover Morgan, sir. The last of a long line of exhibitionists. My grandfather was Perisphere Morgan, a direct descendant of Trilon Morgan. Of course, that's the Flushing branch of the family.
Frank, for the love of Mike, the guy you're talking to is the radio director of the New York World's Fair,
Well,
John Young.
I thought he didn't look like Billy Rose, but he got... John Young! Well, I'm afraid I've made an unforgivable mistake.
Well, I don't mind, Mr. Morgan, but you better look out for Mr. Rose when you run into him.
Yes, I'm always in trouble with guys named Young. I'd better be going now. You know, schedules.
Wait a minute now, just a minute, Mr. Morgan. Yes? I'd like to hear a little more about some of the fairs that you've directed.
You're interested in fairs?
Very much, yes.
Oh, as I see. Well, I don't suppose you got down to the Philadelphia Sesquicentennial, did you, Mr. Young?
No, I didn't.
Well, I was the one.
But I did meet all the directors.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Well, that was a good little fair. It would have been better if they'd had me. Let me see now. The Pacific Coast Exposition in 1915. Did you get out there for that?
No, I missed that one.
Oh, well, now, that was probably my best work.
But I sent a man out there who brought me back all the facts and the figures of the whole thing.
Oh, you did? Yes. Oh, well, that's right. I didn't see that either. Did you get any facts and figures on the Chicago World's Fair in 1893?
I saw that one.
Oh, you saw that
I
one?
saw that
one. Well, you're certainly well preserved, Mr. Young.
Well, thank you. What about the fairs you ran yourself, Mr. Morgan?
The fairs that I ran. Yes, the county state fair, bus fair. Why should I have to run into John Young? I'm in Dutch again. Dutch. Holland!
What's that?
Did you attend the Zeta Z World's Fair in 1925?
I never even heard of it.
Oh, well, there was a fair. Picture this sight by the side of the Zeta Z. An idealized Dutch fairyland with fascinating, spectacular exhibits from Amsterdam, Rotterdam, all the cities in Holland.
Wait a minute. What's that? Amsterdam, Rotterdam, rather, and Amsterdam?
Yes, well, you can't say damn on the air. I'm just trying to tell
you. Well, did your fair have a contribution from the Hague?
What's the mayor of Jersey City got to do with it? You mean the capital of Holland?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes, well, it was there I got my great idea to glorify their principal national product.
Diamonds.
Oh, no, Mr. Young. Their principal manufactured product is cheese. So I designed and built at the entrance to the fair an enormous palace composed entirely of cheese.
Well, that's a novel idea.
Oh, yes. I knew it would capture the imagination of every loyal Hollander because their first glimpse of the fair would be this gorgeous structure of cheese. Lofty spires of Edam, magnificent towers of pimento, great arches of cheddar, and the entrance gates of delicate tracery of gorgonzola.
A remarkable piece of work. By the way, how was the first day's attendance, Morgan?
The attendance, yes. Well, it would have been great except for one thing.
What was that?
Well, nobody could get near enough to buy a ticket. I never should have made the box office out of Limburger. Well, so long, Mr. Young. I've got to go out and see the Aqua Cave. Well, all right, John. If I can be serious for a minute.
No, I don't believe it's possible.
Oh, yes, it is. I've been in New York not quite a week, And I've been to see this marvelous fair 3 times, and honestly, I don't believe there's ever been anything like it since the beginning of time. Such an incredible variety of entertainment, amazing spectacles, breathtaking glimpses into the future. A person could spend months wandering around the New York World's Fair and never be bored for an instant.
Well, it's nice to hear you say that, Frank. That keeps our record 100% perfect.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean that we've had about 9 million visitors to the fair so far, and not a single one of them has gone away feeling let down.
Well, it's magnificent, and I mean it. Good night, John.
Good night, Frank.
Excuse me just a minute, Mr. Morgan.
Yes.
The folks over at the Maxwell House Mayflower Donut Shop here on the World's Fair grounds thought you might be missing your Thursday evening glass of iced Maxwell House coffee, so they sent this over to you.
Well, thanks, son. That's right. It's time for our famous old Thursday evening custard. Say, all the gang out in Hollywood ought to be having their coffee right now. Hey, Bob Young out there in Hollywood. Do you know what day it is? Time it is? Meredith, Bob. Stafford.
Sorry, Mr. Morgan. We have to pause for station identification.
This is KFI, Los Angeles.
Yes, Frank, okay, we haven't forgotten. We're all here in Hollywood, and we're doing just what you're doing there in New York, enjoying some grand iced Maxwell House coffee. And once again, we invite all of our thousands of friends all over the country to join us in this happy Thursday evening custom. All served, everybody. Here's sugar and cream. And Meredith opens our second act with a new swing arrangement of a famous rhythm number of the 1920s, The Parade of the Wooden Soldiers.